Hi, everyone. This is Deidre Kindred, your nurse advocate, here today on Health Chats Among Friends. And I have a dear friend here with me tonight. Her name is Ruby Shoals. She is a nurse and she's also an independent life insurance specialist. Hi, Ruby. How are you?
Hey Dee, I am doing well. How about you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. I'm so glad you're here. So, Ruby, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been a registered nurse for 44 years. Now I've retired. I was an ER nurse, a GI nurse, and the director of that department when I left. I've done nurse coaching. And then a few years ago, I decided I wanted to get out of the healthcare arena. So I got my life insurance license because I wanted to still be in a career that I felt like I could make a difference in the lives of people. And the education piece of what my company does is what fit my heart, is being out in the community, helping people understand life insurance and how it can be used as a tool to have a better life, plan for the future, and leave a legacy.
Those are all awesome, awesome reasons to do what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about the life insurance that you are specializing in.
Well, one of the solutions that I make sure people are aware of is that most people think that life insurance is a solution that you have to die to use.
Mm,
There are new types of life insurances out there now that have what we call living benefits, and you don't have to die to use them. So there's three challenges that we face when we're looking at planning for our future. Number one is dying too soon.
mm,
If you die too soon, who are you concerned about that you would leave a burden behind for? Is it your husband, your wife, your kids, maybe your parents, or maybe a charitable organization? So dying too soon, life insurance can leave a legacy so that your loved ones don't suffer. Second thing that we have to challenge with is getting sick. You know,
mm,
sometimes getting sick is a bigger challenge than dying. Uh,
right.
because we are here and we're still struggling. When you get sick, heart attack, cancer, strokes, sometimes the money quits coming
Mm,
in, but the bill,
right.
and then living too long without adequate income. So insurance is a tool that can be used to accumulate cash value and that you can be used for later in life. So those are three challenges we face. But the getting sick one is the one I wanted to focus on today.
Yes, we know about people getting sick, don't we?
Oh
And
yeah,
it's such a sad scene when someone gets sick and then they run out of funds because they didn't plan ahead of time.
yeah. And then the challenge is when you're sick, you're stressed because you're sick,
Mm,
but then add the stress of no income.
right.
And so you're focused on I'm I have no money coming in. How am I going to pay my bills? So it makes it harder for you to recover from your illness because you're stressed out over what's happening in your life, whether your lights stay on, where your mortgage is paid. So that's where living benefit life insurance comes in. It gives people the ability to tap into the death benefit. The major causes would be heart attack, cancer, and stroke. There are about 18 other conditions, depending on your insurance company, that would allow you to tap in to that death benefit and take some money out to help you pay your bills now and take away that stress of no money coming in and bills still needing to be paid.
Yeah, yeah.
Most people know it's out there.
You know,
So
and that's great that you provide this service because when you sat down with me, you were just so thorough and understanding. So I'll tell everybody a quick testimony. When my mom passed away at the age of 55, she did not have proper insurance. We'll just say that. But that taught me a lesson to say, okay, I want to be able to provide just in case I
Mm-hmm.
get one of the three. I live too long, I don't live long enough, or I get the illness, that I won't. Oh, it's just stressful.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your why. Why did you get into this? I know you said you left the healthcare but world, but you really didn't. You kind of like this kind of is an extension of it, so to speak. You left the hospital, but you're still
Yeah.
providing a
The
service.
service. Uh, when I left the hospital, I wanted to look at a career that I could do as I got older. But it
You're
also,
older? Did you get
I
older? When
said,
did you?
I did not say oh, I said older. So leave it alone. Uh, but I wanted to make sure that it was a career that fit my heart. And my heart, I'm a servant. I'm a servant leader. And I wanted to look at how could I make a difference in my community and education about life insurance. Because most people, number one, if they have it, they don't understand what they have. They'll buy a policy, they'll put it someplace, and most people can't find the policy. They never look at it again. They don't know if it's expired, if it's
Mhm.
a term policy, if it's an accident policy. A quick story, I had a client that I sit down and did a complimentary policy review. And I looked over their policies and I found out they thought they had 200,000 worth of insurance. But what they really had was 30,000 worth of permanent and 130,000 worth of accidental death. So they would have had to die by accident in order to get the benefit, most benefit from that policy. But they did not know that. And
Wow.
when we did the policy review, we found that out. And then they were able to get a policy that will cover them regardless of whether it's an accident or whether it's natural causes. But people never look. They never
Well,
look.
I was guilty. I was guilty of that. I had my policies and still have a couple of them. And you were able to, look at those and help me understand what I had, because what we do is, as consumers, we buy a policy from an agent, and then sometimes we don't never hear back from that agent. Well, I'm here to tell you, Ruby Shoals is not that agent that you want to hear back from. She was very thorough and very understanding and looked through what I had and told me what I needed to beef up or what I needed to keep or get rid of. So that to me is tremendously trustworthy.
Well, thank you, Dee. That's one of the things that's important to me. I'm not going to replace a policy just to get paid. If replacing that policy is not in your best interest, then I will be replacing it. And I will let you know what you have. And I will tell you, don't replace that. You can't get that rate at your age now. You have a good policy. I have done that to a lot of my clients. When I sit down and do that review, I'll look at what you got versus what you need. Sometimes you just need to add a little more to what you have. Sometimes you have sufficient insurance for what you want it to do for you. And that's the main thing. What do you want that insurance to do for you? Protect your loved ones in case God calls you home? No, take that back. Protect your loved ones when God
When
calls you. We know 10 out of 10 of us are leaving here. But we want to start leaving legacies behind so that maybe our children can go to college without having college loans. Uh, Maybe you're young and you have parents that if something happened to you, you wanted to make sure that they would be taken care of. Because as we get older and our parents are still alive, we usually have to help them,
right.
whether they're sick or whatever. So we have to look at what we have in place that can help us plan for the future. See, I love the fact that insurance can be used as a tool to help us have a better life. It's not all about the dying. It's
Right.
the living, and how can I use this to take care of my family, to give me some peace of mind, knowing if something happens that I've got things in place that will allow me not to be stressed.
Right. So explain this again. So if someone were to get a life insurance policy with living benefits
Mhm.
and they had a heart attack and they had to go into the hospital, and then it's the long journey of you know recovery and things like that. How would their policy, how could they implement their policy and use it to the best of their benefit?
So what they would do is contact their agent or their insurance company and let them know that this is what's going on. And they will send them a form to fill out. Each company has a formula of how much you can take out of that policy based on what your age is, how long you've had the policy, and what kind of medical problem you have and how severe it is. So it's up to the company and you to look at how much can you take out of that policy. But taking some out of it and paying some bills, to me, is a whole lot better than I gotta die. I gotta die before I can use any of this. I
Right.
will make sure that I get the best and I can take advantage of it while I live. So let me know about the living benefits of this thing, not necessarily when I'm gone.
And
So
you were saying that to me one time, it's best to go ahead and get a quote and lock in that uh, rate when you're moderately healthy, or so explain that for everybody too.
yeah. So there's a couple of options, several options for insurance. One is term and one is permanent insurance. Permanent is whole life or index universal life, but permanent insurance costs a little bit more because you're going to lock that in for life, that rate for life. Term insurance is less expensive, but it will end in 10, 20, or 30 years. So meaning at the end of that 20-year term, so to speak, if you passed away 20 years in one day, then you would have no insurance. But if you passed away during those 20 years, then your family would get the benefits of that policy. But the benefit of that is it's inexpensive and it can give you coverage when you've got the most responsibilities. Your kids are growing up. They may have to go to college. You have a home. You have a wife. You have a husband. You have a lot of responsibilities and maybe a lot of debt. So you want to have something in place. But you can get a term policy and lock in your health, which means you're 35 years old right now and you're healthy. So you're going to get a really good rate. You lock that in. And the way it works in most cases is that you can convert that term into a permanent policy without having to requalify. So you're 35-year-old, you've got an excellent rate. 10 years down the road, you develop cancer. Well, you can turn that policy into a permanent policy. It's going to be based on your age at that time, but you don't have to requalify. So that's what one of the benefits of term. It's inexpensive. It gives you a lot of coverage for a little bit amount of money, and it takes the burden of what happens if God calls me home uh, sooner than I'm ready.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
make sure you have a peace of mind of knowing I got something in place. So something beats nothing. But
right.
term allows you to lock in your health and later convert it to a permanent policy if you so choose to.
That's awesome. So I think your biggest hurdle is sometimes this is the conversation nobody wants to have, because
Yeah,
it ties into wills and, insurance policies and things like that, the D word.
yeah,
So that's the biggest hurdle for you. Would you agree?
yeah. No one wants to talk about dying, but all of us are leading here.
Yeah.
So I would prefer to talk about the living benefits of life
Right.
insurance, how it can benefit you now. Even the cash accumulation inside of a permanent policy, it can benefit you by being able to have tax-free money later in life that you can.
So do you find a lot of people don't know about the living benefits?
Exactly.
Mhm.
All they've heard of is term insurance or whole life,
Right.
but they have not heard of the new type of insurance with the living benefits. So both types, the whole life and the term, depending on the company that you choose, can have living benefits.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome. So that's what is a question that people need to ask? Do they need to ask their agent to explain the difference
they need
between?
they need to sit down with their agent and have a policy review. They need to look at that policy and see what it does for them, how much coverage they have. You know, as you get older and life changes,
Mhm.
sometimes your needs for coverage change. You may have a house with a $300,000 mortgage now. If you passed away, what happens to that mortgage, and will your family have to change their zip code because they can't
Right.
afford that anymore? So you have
Mhm.
to sit down and look at it as life changes. More kids added on. You've been married. Um, you've been divorced. Let
Mhm.
me throw this out there while I'm thinking about it. Check your beneficiaries,
Oh, yes.
because if someone dies or somebody remarries and you don't change your beneficiaries,
Right.
it may be not the right person that you wanted to have your money go to get it.
Yeah. I
So
call that a sticky bucket.
you got to make sure you check those beneficiaries.
Yeah.
Uh, you have life changes, yeah. Getting divorced, getting married, having kids, adding more kids, having a charity, a favorite charity,
Mhm.
things that you need to look at. Check your beneficiaries
Right.
so that the money
Right.
will go to where you want it to go. Like,
Absolutely. Well, Ruby, how can someone reach you if they wanted to reach out to you?
well, I am on Facebook. It's Ruby Shoals. You can look me up. And it's also Ruby Shoals Financial Professional, um, as a Facebook page also. My phone number is 903-244-1537. That's an East Texas number. I'm from Texarkana. So, and I kept that number for over 30 years. So I'm easy to get in touch with. And the thing is, I want people to understand is to talk to me doesn't cost you anything. I do complimentary policy reviews. I will sit down with you over a video conference because I'm not coming to your house. Uh, they say COVID's still out there and I'm not going. But
COVID is still out there.
we can use video conference, web presentations, great the tools to help look at where you are, where you want to be, and what can I do to help you get there. And ask the right questions, but mainly have somebody in your corner that's going to look out for your best interest.
Well, I tell you what, Ruby Shoals is my independent insurance advocate. Thank you, Ruby, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and chat with me during Health Chats Among Friends. And one more time, tell people how they can get in touch with you, just in case they've missed it.
I am on Facebook. It's Ruby Shoals, and that's RUBYSHOALS. Or you can text me 903-244-1537. I would love to talk with you and help you make sure that you can leave a legacy and not a mess.
Awesome. Because somebody's going to have to clean that mess up, right?
That's exactly right.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Ruby, for your time. It's been great. I hope everyone will reach out to Ruby or your current independent agent and ask them what is the difference between living benefits, whole life insurance, and term. So ask them to look at your policy, ask them to sit down with you. If they won't, we know someone who will. Thank
That's
you for your time.
I appreciate you, girl, for inviting me on. You know, I love to talk and I love to share information. My goal is to, as my tagline is, empowering people to live well, build wealth, and leave a legacy. That is my purpose. And I'd love
That's
people.
awesome. I love it. I love it, and I love you. Well, that's the end of our little segment today, everyone. My name is Deidre Kindred. I'm a nurse advocate, educator, and navigator. I love equipping you to make better healthcare choices. Thank you for tuning in to Health Chats Among Friends, and we will see you next time with another amazing guest. Thank you again.
All right, bye.